But when they first told us, I mean, it's just a courier showed up and just said here, and it was all quite a shock on that day. You know, taking away a British citizenship so that someone has to be forced to go to Canada, well, as a Canadian, I think that's not such a bad thing. Um, and I'd like to see Jack there, and he was quite interested in going there too. But it's the injustice of it all, and the fact that you can't, you know, he's obviously British as well, and he was born and raised here. As much as he spent lots of holidays and things in Canada, he mostly lived here. I'm not going to try to change that. I just think it's so incredibly unfair. I mean, the papers we were given say that it's in the public interest to strip him of his British citizenship, that it's not, that it's not conducive to his presence in the UK or something. But it's also, it says, not in the public interest for them to tell us or Jack why they've taken away his citizenship. Which, so, and it says you have to send this notice to him, which is, how are we going to do that, given he's in solitary confinement pretty much, and can't talk to anyone, has no access to lawyers or anyone, medical treatment, anything, as far as we know. To be quite honest, I don't even know he's alive. And then he has 28 days to appeal. Well, we can't even communicate with him. I haven't spoken to my son in over 4 years, 4.5 years, and we had some app messages through a messaging app 2.5 years ago when he first escaped from ISIS territory, and the Kurds treated him really, really well, and he was sending a lot of messages there, but I haven't actually directly spoken to him in so long. So I don't know, there's a whole pile of feelings kind of going around, but still the massive feeling of frustration that as a parent I still can't protect my child and they won't let you, and the frustration that I still don't know of any information of what he's supposed to have done wrong. If Jack Letts has done something wrong, I will be the first person to stand up and condemn him publicly and ask for him to go on trial and to be punished for what he did. Because, you know, the horrible stories you heard that ISIS did to people, to Yazidis, to all sorts of people, you know, I utterly, utterly condemn that. And I agree with one of the lines in Ralph Goodell's statement that, you know, we have to work together to stop terrorism and these people should be punished if they've done something wrong. But there's this knee-jerk assumption always that Jack was an ISIS fighter. Where is this coming from? You know, it was invented by a journalist from the Sunday Times. And once you release that in the media, it just spins out of control, and, you know, you can't put the rabbit back in the hat, and it just gets more, it's like a snowball, an avalanche. It gets worse and worse and worse, ending up with him having his citizenship stripped. The only evidence we have seen, we've been on trial, well, the trial lasted a month, but we've been prosecuted, as you probably know, for about 4.5 years. I've seen a lot of information, and if there was any evidence that I felt that made Jack guilty of anything, I really wouldn't be putting my face out here in front of a television camera. The only evidence I know of is a photograph of him with his finger in the air on a rock outside of Raqqa. Now, he went to Raqqa because he'd been injured when they dropped a bomb on his house. And Raqqa was the only functioning hospital that could repair his arm. And if you look closely at that photo, his arm's clearly been half blown off. And that's why he went to Raqqa. It may have been the capital of ISIS, but once you were trapped inside ISIS territory, you couldn't escape. That was the big problem. He'd been living in Iraq with his wife. So, you know, Jack was put on trial in Mosul for standing up against ISIS. You know, he opposed ISIS. He said they were un-Islamic. I don't really care where Jack goes. What I want him is not to rot in a jail cell, not to die where he is. He's got kidney disease. There's all sorts of things going on. You know, I'm sure he's not emotionally in the best state after 4.5 years and 2.5 years in a jail cell. He's never seen his child. He doesn't know if his wife is alive or dead. He never speaks English. I just want him to be out. Everyone wants to look really tough, but, you know, being tough might also be demonstrated that, you know, that you can be tough on crime, but also respect rights. What makes us Canadian? I keep going back to it. We have a right to be considered innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to a fair trial. Isn't that why we're different from those people we were fighting against? I think of the Rocky Mountains and I think of Canada, and I think Jack would have a much better life there.